Hello guys, and welcome to part 19 of Let's Make an RPG tutorial. Today we'll be doing animations. First, let's open up our project and go to our sprite class. What we need to do is, before we start animation, we need to learn how to crop an image. So, to crop an image, create another rectangle called crop. Well, it doesn't have to be called crop, but you can call it whatever you want. Then we set crop inside here. Make x 0, y 0, w 50, h 100. Now this doesn't change anything until we set this to the image. So when we try to render it, we'll crop it by replacing this null with crop. This parameter is the rectangle that will be used for cropping. So when we run it, as you can see, the image was cropped, but the size didn't change. It's because the size is actually here. This is how much image it will show, and this is the size of the image in the game. So first you might think to make it to the if you want to have full image at start, for example, because this will be done for all our sprites, background, Bob, and basically any other sprites we create. You want it to start with fully cropped. Fully cropped? Yeah, I guess that's the word for it. So we see full image. So you will set to W and H, but as you can see, that's not it. It crops the image, but that's not the size. What we want to do is crop it to the size of the image, not size of the image inside the game, but actual size of the image, which is 256 by 256, and this one is 1024 by 1024. So if we do 256 here, 256 here, Bob will be scaled correctly, not scaled, cropped. Bob will be cropped correctly, but the background won't be because it's 1024 by 1024. So see, background is a little bit pixelated because it's 4 times smaller. So what we will do is set this to actual size of this image, of those images. And for that we'll use a function called SDL_query texture. And first it takes the texture, which is, as you can see, the texture is the image, comma, format, set this to null, set access to null, and here we'll pass what we want to set to the width and height. You can just set it to crop W and crop H, but actually we want to keep track of image width and image height, and as you can see I already created those here. So to create those two integers, one is image underscore width, other one is image underscore height, and that will keep track of the image size, not the texture size in the game, but actual image size. We'll do is reference image underscore width, comma, reference image underscore height. And now this will set those two values to the width and height of the image. And then we simply set this to the crop. So now we crop the image, but to its own size, so it looks exactly the same. But for example, what if we want to crop it halfway? If you divide this by 2, we'll see half of Bob, as you can see, and actually half of this image as well. So we can use this an advantage for animation. So first I'm gonna change our Bob sprite with character called Tom. So there's no more Bob, and we have new main character called Tom. Tom was drawn by Bloodpain, and I'll give his details are in the description. Thanks Bloodpain for doing this drawing just for us. It's really helpful. Okay, so as you can see, this is one whole image, and what we'll do is crop it like this, and we'll see only this part. Then we'll crop it like this and like that, so you only see this instead of all of this. Also, we'll change those crops really quickly, so it will look like an animation. So let's not save this. By the way, this is PNG, and this image will be in the description to download as well. So first, we need to change in main.cpp. So Bob, we actually upload Tom. Let's run it. Oh yes. And we didn't copy Tom. We copied Tom into debug, but we didn't copy him into data. Okay. Now if you run it, there's Tom. As you can see, it shows the whole sprite because we're not cropping it yet. We're actually cropping it, but to its own size. What we want to do is crop it to here. So what we're gonna do is create a function called let's call it play animation. And you will pass begin frame and frame, begin frame and frame, and then we'll do row. Let's call it row. And lastly, we'll do speed. And those probably won't be all integers. Well, definitely speed won't be, so we can actually change this. And those should be integers, actually. So let's copy that to our sprite. Play animation. And actually, that should be here. So we have the function play animation. So that should be fixed. Okay. Now we need to, for now, let's just crop it. So what we'll do is crop dot x equals image width. Actually no, crop dot y equals image width divided by 3. Crop dot h equals image height divided by 3. Okay, for now we're gonna pass those values, but we're not gonna use them. So this is not gonna it's not going to play animation, but it's gonna set. So let's actually do this inside the loop here. We still named it Bob, so I probably should rename that to Tom, but that's fine. Let's just keep it Bob. And play animation. And those values are not used, so we can just set them to 0. And set speed to 5. So if you run this, speed is still not used, but set it for 5 to 5. As you can see, this was cropped, but still not properly. That is because it's 3 by 4. The reason I'm dividing it by 3 because I'm trying to, as you can see, I'm dividing the image width by 3, so it's gonna start from here, and I'm dividing image height by 4 now, so it's gonna start here, so it will get just this part. It's still really big. There's like a lot of white space. Okay, I managed to fix Tom sprite, and I did it the way is I divide everything in perfect rectangles, which is 88 by 120 if I remember correctly. And every 88 I drew a line towards this direction, and every 120 I drew a line downwards. And then I placed our images back in here. So those are in the correct position now. So when you create your sprite, make sure you do it that way. So you divide sprite in perfect rectangles and put your animation inside them. Obviously the size can vary depending on what are your needs. So if we right now, as you can see, we have our image, which is here. And I simply removed those lines, obviously, and now we have really nice sprite sheet. Now when you play it, as you can see, it's using this first image. But what if you want to go to second image, for example? Also, it's also kind of squished, as you can see. We can squish it simply by just changing our previous values when we define it here. It's 250 by, no, it's 100 by 100. No, can't remember. So it's width and height. Now we can make height 120. There you go, that's better. So now if we want to choose second image,